Okay. We are back on Morning Line. Good. Listen, we're talking in the break with Barbara McGinnis, who is an elder care law expert with Take Us McGinnis. Your office is over there on in Hendersonville.
We're in Hendersonville on Walton Ferry Road. Yeah.
She brought me a mug. And it's actually a cool mug. I get lots of mugs, but I'm going to keep this one. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
You know, we were talking veterans sometimes seeking things, and you were telling me about this. I was mentioning that my brother-in-law recently qualified. He should have years ago, but didn't really know. Served in the Navy, exposure to Agent Orange. The problem is he never went on mainland. He was always on the boat. Well, it turns out there was a list of boats. We looked on the list, and there's the name of his boat that had been named in some lawsuits litigation back in the 70s. And we find out, and then we said all the symptoms and everything like this, and he's just found out that he's qualified for up to $3,000 a month plus back pay for his spouse who's been caring for him for several years. I mean, it's going to be a big, big help in caring for him for the rest of his life. So what law changed?
So the way compensation and pensions are decided for Vietnam veterans related to Agent Orange exposure, there's a list of presumed health care conditions, right?
Yep.
So if you were in country, boots on the ground is what we've always said. In country, you were presumed to be exposed to Agent Orange, and if you have some of these diagnoses, it's on this, there's some heart disease, some cancer, some Parkinson's, you know, there's a fairly long list.
Yeah, there really is.
If you have these diagnoses, there is a presumed connection, you qualify for compensation. Navy personnel confined to the boats, somehow the military, and it had to do with proximity to shore, I'm sure, and how far inland these boats went, that there was black water, brown water, and blue water vessels, right? So the black water, brown water, they were considered like boots on the ground.
Okay.
But if your boat was only in blue water, you were assumed not to have been exposed. And recently, like in the last couple of months, there's been this big rule change that blue water exposure is recognized.
That must have, now my understanding, because we were trying to figure out how or why, that I think Agent Orange, I know, which was a defoliator, okay, supposed to go out and clear out the jungle of vegetation, was also being used as a cleaner or solvent on some of these boats, or something along those lines, meaning that there was means to have exposure to it. I don't know what else they used that crap on, but it was on the boat as well, and a bunch of these guys on board got sick.
Well, and I think another area that might still be a gray area would be Air Force personnel that the transport, because remember the chemicals had to get there somehow, and so like Air Force personnel that was involved with transport overseas, maybe even there were some on the vessels. That I don't know.
Yeah,
but
so
that makes sense.
When you're dealing with veterans, though, I mean, I would imagine there's some veterans out there maybe that are in a situation right now and don't realize they may qualify for some benefits.
Absolutely.
I've learned a lot from you. I mean, one thing that's important is to see whether or not they actually served during wartime or not. That is one criteria sometimes. You can still be in that theater outside of what has technically been declared as wartime. And being outside of that, it's a little more difficult to get the benefits.
So pension requires some wartime exposure, not combat, but service during a period of war. Compensation is an injury tied to your military service. So two different things. You know, I've had people at the VA tell me, when in doubt, apply.
Sure.
And let us help you figure it out. So if you're out there in the community and if you're a veteran and you're wondering if you qualify for something, go see your local VSO.
Go see him, but I'll tell you this. You think the IRS or you think Social Security is a bureaucracy. There is nothing like dealing with veterans benefits in the VA. And I understand there's a lot of them, but it's a shame. It shouldn't be that hard for them. But what my family went through in terms of applying and how long it took and the paperwork and the stick-to-it-itis and the lists and the transfers and the calls, the bureaucracy is insane.
It is.
Okay, I can see a lot of people start with it and then literally just throw up their hands and say, I can't do it. Because there's too much. And I understand that. But if you stick with it, you're absolutely right. It's no harm in it. But the bureaucracy and the time, and even from the point you apply, it may be 2 years before you get an answer.
And there's a whole new set of forms, too.
I know.
After this October 18 of 2018 rule change, there was a whole new set of forms that had come out. And of course, the application packets did not get smaller. They got bigger. So, it's gotten harder. And I feel like we're in a window right now where it's takes a little longer. It's a little slower.
And I thought they were going to streamline stuff.
I don't know if maybe they got a huge surge of applications like right before that October 2018 rule change, where people was trying to apply under the old policies, and maybe they created a backlog that might be temporary. You know, I can certainly give folks some benefit of the doubt on that, because I know we tried to get a lot of applications out.
Oh, did you at that point?
That time.
Makes sense. And there may be a backlog. All right, listen, we just have a few more minutes left. Just wanted to let you, you know, the bottom line is elder care law continues, and Tim was, you know, at the forefront years ago when he got started.
Absolutely.
Continues to grow. The baby boomers, of course, have aged, and they're in that position. Your take on this part of the legal profession? I mean, it's going to get bigger in the coming years, even more so.
I think so. I think it's going to continue to grow as a need, because, like you said, the folks that are getting older, we're the fastest growing set of the demographic. Right?
And we're living longer. Yeah.
We're living longer, and I think it's going to get more challenging instead of easier, because the baby boomer as a set, as a demographic, we're not great savers. So we've got a lot of people that's going to be entering old age without a lot of resources. So
do some of them think that, oh, well, I'm getting Social Security?
I don't know. I think really what...
You will, but if you think you're going to live on Social Security, you're going to have a tough time.
Yeah, you are. The average Social Security benefit, I think, is about $1,200. Yeah, so... That's right. Yeah, it's pretty low.
Yeah, you don't want to depend. Okay,
but there's all kinds of reasons why it's not a very... You know, obviously there's always outliers, right? So I don't want to offend anybody. There's always outliers, people that have done very well. But as a whole, this is a group of people that may struggle in old age because there's not pension plans any longer.
That's right, long gone.
There's just Social Security. We're supposed to be augmenting our Social Security with IRA or 401k savings. And a lot of people don't have them because they were perhaps independently employed, or perhaps they just never made enough money to accumulate much in the way of resources. So there's going to be increasing challenges. Finding resources, finding out, you know, hopefully we are a healthier generation. It's about 65% of us will need long-term care at some point during our life. Doesn't mean that we're going to need it for very long, but we know that it's very expensive no matter how much you need it. So planning ahead is going to be the only way. That is my mantra. Planning ahead is about the only way that you're going to survive with the quality of life that you want.
And that's what you guys help people with.
Yes.
That's the crucial thing. Just planning ahead. And boy, it's never been more important to take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You don't want to go to the hospital for anything because you can get sicker by the time you get out than when you went in. So, I mean, take care of yourself. And as far as planning, remind folks again how they can contact you and where they can go. And they can make a phone call and inquire about what your services are.
Our website is www.tn-elderlaw.com. And our phone number is 615-824-2571.
There it is.
Thank you. And we're in Hendersonville, so if you have an elder law question, you can call to make an appointment or get a referral to someone else. Maybe that would be better suited to help you.
And by the way, I know you both, and Tim's helped me with this in the past. You say you practice in Tennessee because that's where the law is, but you guys have contacts all over the country. So if you're calling and you're like, well, you know, my family lives in Washington State, I just bet you guys have someone you can refer them to.
We do.
Yeah, it's just an amazing network that they have. Real quick, let's give a plug to Takis McGinnis Elder Care Law Hour, Friday, 9 a.m. What are we going to see?
Oh, this Friday, we're going to be starting that episode on advanced directives or end-of-life planning. It was a wonderful episode to film. We have Dr. Dallas, who's a local primary care physician in Hendersonville, and he's talking to us about how to initiate that conversation, you know, with your primary care physician. Who better, really, to have that conversation with? That person may not be who's directing care for you in the hospital setting, but it will help guide care and help you make good decisions. Then we have Lieutenant Boyd, who's an EMS from Sumner County, talking about what do EMS people do when they respond to this emergency? How can we help them communicate, know how to respond and communicate with advanced directives, having them available in the home. He said, maybe keep them behind the bed. I don't want to give away secrets. I want you to watch Friday, but you know, maybe like keep them behind the bedpost or something like that, so that they're easily accessible.
Right there. How about tattooing it on your bicep?
You know, I asked that.
Did you really?
What about right here
on the chest? You can't miss it.
Have you ever seen that? And he said he had not seen it, but no, it's not legal. It does not work.
Oh wait, if you tattoo "do not resuscitate" on your arm, that's not
going to
even if you get a notary.
Yeah. Then we have an ER physician who's again talks about survival and you know, making. How the decision making, the triage, how to make decisions.
But the great thing about that show is, which is a different format than this, where we just, you and I talk and then take some phone calls, is you've got great guests.
Yes.
So,
and they live on our website and our YouTube page, and I think maybe you can even see them on the Channel 5 site as well.
I think we can, just like you can on this show. Barbara,
thank you.
You're the best. It's always nice seeing you.
Good.
Thank you. Don't you like your new hairstyle? I think it looks so great. All right. We'll see you again soon, or Tim, or the both of you. Okay. Right. And of course this Friday as well. We'll take a break. I'll be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this.